Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. Today we're taking on Spanish verbs,
Ooh, fun.
specifically ones that end in er.
Those are tricky.
They can be a little tricky, yeah.
Yeah.
Our source material for today is a lesson by a Spanish teacher named Jaime,
Oh, cool.
and he breaks it down in a way that is surprisingly engaging.
I agree.
I was kind of expecting this to be like a very dry, like textbooky run through,
Right.
but he makes it fun.
Yeah, his teaching style is very engaging.
It really is.
And?
So I'm excited to dig into this.
Yeah, me too.
So he starts off by kind of explaining like what verbs are in the grand scheme of Spanish verbs.
Yeah.
And he calls them the second conjugation.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
Well, when we talk about conjugations in any language, really, we're talking about, how a verb changes to match who's doing the action.
Okay.
So like in English, you would say like, I eat, but he eats. So the verb to eat is conjugated differently depending on the subject. So Spanish has these three groups of verbs, and air verbs fall into that second group based on how they're structured and how they change.
Okay, so it's like a family of verbs that all kind of behave
Exactly.
similarly.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're kind of like siblings.
gotcha. Okay. So then he dives into regular air verbs,
Yeah.
giving us some examples like beber and corer.
Good ones.
Yeah, all the important ones. And he emphasizes how important it is to get those regular verbs down because they follow these predictable patterns.
It's true. And once you get that pattern, it's like you unlock this code and you can just conjugate so many verbs without even thinking.
So tell me about the code. Walk me through it. What is it about these verbs that makes them so predictable?
Well, let's take comer, for example.
Okay.
So comer means to eat. So you drop the air ending, and that leaves you with the stem com. And then depending on who's doing the eating, you add the right ending. So you have yo como for I eat, tu comes for you eat, and so on.
Oh, so you just swap out
Exactly.
the ending based on who's doing
You
it.
get a
Okay, that's not too bad.
right. It's not as scary as it sounds.
Yeah, way less intimidating than I thought.
Exactly.
But I noticed that Jaime doesn't stop at these regular verbs.
Of course not. That would be too easy.
He's got to make things a little more challenging.
Right.
So he brings up these irregular verbs.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
The tricky ones.
Yeah, the ones that don't quite follow the rules so neatly.
Right.
And he spends quite a bit of time on these verbs like potter, querer, and saber. What makes these verbs so tricky?
Well, the interesting thing about them is that even though they're irregular, they still have patterns. You can look for, like, for example, with the verb potter, which means to be able to... The stem actually changes depending on who's doing the action.
Okay.
So you have yo puedo, but él puede.
Gotcha.
So the key is recognizing those stem changes.
So it's not total chaos.
No, not at all.
There's still some rhyme or reason to it.
Exactly. Jaime breaks it down in a way that makes it manageable.
Okay, good. Because I was getting a little intimidated.
Thank you for that.
When I saw irregular verbs, I was like, oh no.
I know they can seem scary, but you know what I really appreciate about Jaime is he keeps things light and fun,
He really does.
even when we're dealing with these grammar rules.
Yeah, he doesn't let it get too dry.
No, he uses humor and, these relatable situations in his examples.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, and it makes a difference.
I noticed that in one of his examples, he's using the verb esconder
Oh, yeah.
to hide.
Uh-huh.
And he creates this whole scenario of like a boy hiding his book under his bed
Right.
to illustrate how to use the verb. And it's just such a simple sentence,
Yeah,
but it helps you picture it.
exactly.
And I think that's what's so cool about his teaching style is he takes these kind of abstract grammar concepts
Yeah,
and he turns them into these little stories and visuals.
absolutely. It's very effective.
It really is. And I think that's the big part of why his lesson is so engaging. So we've talked about regular verbs or
Yeah.
irregular verbs. But I think what's really key is that he doesn't just explain the rules. He encourages learners to really engage with the material.
You're right. He's all about active learning.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you just passively watching his video. He wants you to participate.
So he's got these little exercises built into the lesson, right?
Exactly.
Where he kind of tells you, okay, pause the video, try conjugating this verb, and then come back and check your answer.
It's like having a built-in study buddy.
Yeah, it's great. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up part one of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
We've gotten a good overview of these air verbs and Jaime's approach to teaching them.
Definitely. And in part 2, we'll dive even deeper into Jaime's lesson and see how we can actually put this knowledge to use.
So stay tuned.
We'll be right back. You know, one thing that really stuck with me from Jaime's lesson is how he doesn't just list out the conjugation rules.
Yeah.
He gives you all these examples.
Yeah.
Like actual sentences showing you how to use those verbs in real conversations.
I think that's so key, right?
Oh, totally.
Because you can memorize those endings,
Right.
but seeing them in action is a whole different ballgame.
It is. It makes it real.
It does. And he doesn't just stick with like basic sentences either.
No, he gets creative.
He uses like humor and these really vivid descriptions.
I love that about
It
him.
makes it fun to learn.
It does.
There was one example I remember he was talking about the verb lamer.
Oh, yeah, to lick.
Yeah. And he describes a dog cleaning a plate.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. With his tongue. And it's like, you can practically see it happening.
Yeah, he really brings those verbs to life.
He does. It's not just like staring at a boring chart in a textbook.
No, not at all. It's
Yeah.
like you're right there with him.
Yeah. And speaking of textbooks, Jaime's lesson has these little exercises sprinkled throughout.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
And they're not just like fill in the blank.
Right.
He's like, okay, pause the video, try conjugating this verb yourself, and then come back and see if you got it right.
Yeah, it's like a little self-test.
It is. And it helps you figure out if you're really getting it.
Absolutely, and it keeps you engaged.
It does. It's like he's anticipating the struggles that you as a learner might have.
Yeah, he's thought of everything.
He's really thought this through. And that's what I appreciate about a good teacher.
It makes such a difference.
It does. And you know, something else I really liked is how Mammy keeps reminding you that this isn't just about like passing a test.
Right.
This is about actually being able to communicate in Spanish.
Yeah, it's about giving you the tools to express yourself.
It is. Once you have that present tense down,
Mhm.
you can talk about your daily routine,
Exactly.
your hobbies, things happening right now.
It opens up so many possibilities.
It really does. And what's cool is that a lot of these air verbs,
Yeah.
they actually look really similar to English verbs.
Oh, totally, like comprender.
Yeah, it's almost the same as comprehend in English.
Right. Those cognates are so helpful.
They are. They give you like a little head start.
Exactly. It's like you already know part of the language.
And that can be really encouraging, especially if you're feeling a little overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. It's like little victories along the way.
And Shame's great at that too.
At why?
Like he sprinkles in these little bits of encouragement
Oh, yeah.
throughout the lesson.
He's very motivational.
He is. He's like, come on, you could do this.
I know, it's like having your own personal cheerleader.
It is. So if you're feeling inspired to learn some Spanish,
Yeah.
Shamey's lesson is a great place to start.
It is. It's comprehensive, engaging, and fun.
He sets a high bar.
He does. He's a natural.
He really is, and his enthusiasm is contagious. But before we wrap up this section,
Okay.
I think it's important to zoom out a bit.
What do you mean?
Well, learning a language is a journey, right?
Absolutely.
And mastering the present tense of these error verbs,
Mhm.
it's a big milestone.
It is.
It lays the groundwork for more complex stuff.
Exactly.
And it lets you connect with Spanish speakers on a deeper level.
You're right. It's like opening a door to a whole new world.
Exactly. And it all starts with these little error verbs.
They might seem small,
Yeah.
but they're powerful.
They're like building blocks.
Yeah, a good foundation.
So whether you're starting from scratch or just brushing up,
Mm-hmm.
James' lesson is a fantastic resource.
I agree. It's a game changer.
It really is. And he makes it feel achievable,
Yeah.
which I think is so important when you're tackling something new.
Totally.
But before we jump to the last part of our deep dive,
Okay.
there's one more point I want to touch on.
Okay. What is it?
Jamie talks about the importance of embracing challenges
Uh-huh.
and never giving up on your language learning goals.
That's so true.
It is learning a new language can be tough,
Oh, it can be.
but the rewards are huge.
They really are.
It's a journey with ups and downs.
for sure.
But that feeling when you finally get it,
When it clicks.
when it clicks,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It is. There's nothing like it.
And Jamie's right there with you every step of the way.
Cheering you on.
Yeah, giving you the tools and the encouragement you need.
He's the best.
He is. But let's hold that thought and explore it more in the final part of our deep dive.
Oh, that's good.
We'll delve into Jamie's insights on tackling those challenges and staying motivated.
I'm ready.
Picking up on that idea of embracing the challenges, Jamie really hammers home that learning a language is a journey.
Not a destination.
Yeah, it's about the process, the little wins along the way.
Absolutely. And he reminds us that there are so many tools to help us on this journey.
Right.
It's not just textbooks anymore.
Not at all.
There are language partners, apps, immersive experiences like watching movies and TV shows in Spanish.
Oh, I love that idea.
It's so fun.
Yeah, watching movies.
Yeah, and you pick up so much just by listening.
It's like you're absorbing it naturally.
Exactly. And you can even make it a game, like try to spot those verbs we've been talking about
Oh, that's a good one.
while you're watching.
It'll keep you on your toes.
It will.
And it's all about finding those ways to weave language learning into your everyday life.
Right. Make it a habit, not a chore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Jamie makes a great point about consistency.
Yeah.
Even if you just dedicate a little time each day,
It makes a difference.
it really adds up.
It does.
So to sum it all up, Jaime's lesson is more than just grammar rules.
Oh, definitely.
It's an invitation to explore this whole world.
The world of Spanish.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that anyone can do it.
Absolutely.
It's not about being a language whiz.
It's about putting in the effort.
And having fun along the way.
Exactly. Jaime's enthusiasm is contagious.
It is. It makes you want to dive right in.
I know. And you know what? I was thinking about those irregular verbs we discussed.
Yeah.
They don't always play by the rules, right?
They're rebels.
They are. And in a way, they're like a metaphor for the language learning process itself.
Oh, how so?
Well, you're going to hit bumps in the road,
Mm-hmm.
unexpected twists and turns, moments where you feel lost.
It's not always smooth sailing.
No, but that's part of the adventure.
It is. It's about embracing the challenge.
And finding those aha moments.
Exactly. So to everyone listening out there, go get them.
Go conquer those air verbs.
You got this.
Remember, every mistake is a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
And with every step, you're getting closer to fluency.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one inspiring others to learn Spanish.
Like Jaime?
Just like Jaime.
What a thought.
I know, right?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those Spanish verbs flowing.
Adios.
Adios.